before I just jump into a lecture, I've been gone so long, do you guys have anything that you'd like burning to know, like about one of the other lectures or something that, one of the guest lecturers said, or how, what questions you guys got for me? How are things going? What are you having trouble with in your writing? Just why don't you throw a few questions at me, and we'll do that for just a few minutes here.
Elantris is your first published book, but you had written 5 previously?
I had, exactly.
What was it that did not let those be sold? What did you learn?
That's an excellent question. Shows you're really paying attention. Nice work. For me, I really think it was a mixture of 2 things. First off, Elantris, when I sold that, I figured out revision. Early in my career, I was much more of a one-drafter. I still am a one-drafter. That's another term for an architect. I don't use it as often because it kind of misleads people, but I thought of myself as more like a one-drafter, which meant that once the book was done, I had real trouble doing revisions. I didn't want to revise. If I felt I'd learned stuff during the book, I felt like I wanted to just write a new book that incorporated all that rather than going back and doing revisions. I got bored of books too easily, in other words. And about the Elantris era is when I really started digging into revision and figuring out how to revise and how to take a good book and make it great. That's more of a problem for someone like myself that has that inclination, that when you finish something you want to set it aside and go on to something else. A lot of my friends, like Dan, who I wish I could have had come talk to you, but he's living in Germany right now, is very much a gardener. He's very good at revision. It has been from the beginning. His problem is always getting a project off the ground or getting a good ending, that sort of stuff, like getting the pieces to come together. He's like, he can revise a chapter and make each chapter brilliant, but getting the whole thing to come together is much harder for him. And for me, the whole would always snap together and everything would come together, but it would all just be okay rather than being awesome. The other thing that made the difference was a lot of my early books were experimental. I did write a cyberpunk. I wrote a science fiction, just action adventure, space opera is what you'd call it. I wrote a comedy, and I wrote 2 epics. And it was settling on, I really do want to do epic. Elantris is the first where I'm like, all right, epic fantasy is what I do. And I wanted to make sure that's what I did. And I would kind of nudge you guys that direction just a little bit, meaning experiment early on in particular with some different styles and genres. Dan, to bring him up again, started in epic fantasy because he'd read a lot of epic fantasies. But his natural inclination is toward shorter, stranger books, horror or thrillers or kind of what we would just call regular fiction, but kind of new, weird and stuff like that. And that's what he was really good at writing and was really excited him in writing, even though he'd read a lot of epic fantasy. A lot of people come into a class like this thinking that they're epic fantasy writers just because, they happen to like my books or during the era earlier, when I was taking it because we liked Robert Jordan or something. And liking that doesn't necessarily mean that's your voice. Jancy, another one of my first student to get published, she came in and talked to you guys. She was writing an epic fantasy when she took the class from me. It turns out that her voice is YA, even mainstream or YA kind of fantastical. But she found that those were the stories that really worked for her. Despite, I don't know if she told you that, but she started writing epic fantasies because it's kind of like that's what you do, right? And so try some different things. Read more broadly now that you're experimenting with writing, and try some stories like the ones you read and see if you find a voice somewhere else unexpected.
Thank you.
For me, I found it was epic fantasy, and that might just be what happens with you, but yeah. All right, anything else? Yeah.
You mentioned that you had problems kind of keeping going, like you finish a book and then you wanted to try something else.
Yeah.
How do you not just kind of give up on a project when you get bored with it? How do you keep yourself?
Yeah, you just do it. The same way that when you don't want to paint the rest of the fence, or you've got one coat on it done and it looks okay, you just do it anyway. And I say that to you because if you're like me, revision is never what I want to be doing. Even still, I don't say, yippee, I get to revise now. That is the actual work part of my work. Doing the world building and things like that is just pure fun. I love doing it. I could do that all day. The writing gets to be work, but not as much as the revision. So if it's not a natural thing for you, I still think you probably need to learn how to do it. There are some authors out there who are anti-revision. They say, learn how to write the first time and then leave it alone. This is a school of thought. I don't subscribe to it. I've never met a writer personally who I thought could get it right on the first try, even the most brilliant ones. I'm sure there are people out there who can do it. But I find that at least a few solid drafts will always improve the writing. Don't go on eternally. It is good advice not to just, keep tweaking things. You gardeners, stop tweaking eventually. But a few solid revisions I found help everything. So.
We might be past it now, but Howard, when he was here, said a couple times that the way he thinks about going through stuff when he's kind of bored with it, he says just keep chopping wood and carrying water until the river and the forest are gone. So that's the way he.
Yep. It's got to happen, and you may have to figure out your own, whether it's a carrot or a stick. For me early on, it was the stick. It was, if I don't do this, I'm going to end up doing a job that I hate, because I will hate anything that is not writing, because I fall in love with writing so much. And so I'd better figure out a way to make a living off of it, and that means doing what I don't want it to do. For other people, it is the carrot. Hey, I get, I will buy a box of Linder truffles or whatever, and, every page I revise, I get a truffle, whatever it is. Pack of magic cards. I've done that before.
Yes.
Yeah. And whatever, figure out what works for you. Figure out your psychology, right? That's part of what this class is about. Figure out your psychology and learn how to exploit it. There's a question over here somewhere, I think, right? No? All right. Yeah.
Well, because last week it was, I don't remember his name, talking about short stories.
Yes, Eric.
I'm just curious, maybe, because you've written both short stories as well as the...
Yes, but my shorts are all novellas or novelettes, meaning I write short novels. I don't actually write short stories. I've written one decent short story.
Is that the one in Armored?
Armored is even, I think, a novelette. The decent short stories for a collection of Charlene Harris's that she's putting together called Games Dead People Play. And it's actually like 5,000 words. I'm so proud of myself. Armored might be a short story, but I think it strays into novelette. If it's novelette's over 7,500 words. Novella is 17,000. And when I'm writing those, I think like a novel, just shorter, rather than a short story, which Eric talked about, which is a very different skill.
Yeah, I'm just asking what method you use transitioning from writing bigger novels like you normally do to shorter stories. So.
Fewer viewpoints, fewer locations are your big friends for writing something shorter, like a novel. If you want to write true short stories, go listen to Mary Robinette Cowell talk about the mice quotient. It's Orson Scott Card's mice quotient. Listen to his lectures or read about him, or listen to the Writing Excuses where she talks about it. She says some brilliant stuff about writing a short story. But basically, if you want to go short, you pick character, setting, or plot and do one idea for them. Like a novella, like I do, I will pick one character element, one setting element, and one plot element, and that becomes a novella. For a novel, I'm doing, usually a dozen of each. So, yeah.